Jamunatera Vanachari Jamunatera Vanachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Can I get some water to drink? Okay, it's here. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajakachari Atstotra Satat Sissimat. His divine grace is confined Acharya Shila Abhayachana Vinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj Ki Shila Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Namacharya Sil Haridas Thakur Ki Prem Si Kahau Si Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Si Advaita Gadadara Si Vasadi Si Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Si Radha Krishna Gopal Gopinath Syama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Savindavan Dham Ki Si Mayapanabadvip Dham Ki Si Jagannathpuri Dham Ki Ganga Maya Yamuna Maya Ki Simati Tulsi Devi Bhakta Devi Ki Sama Veda Bhakta Vinda Ki Nitai Gur Premanandi. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to the Sam devotees. All glories to Sisi Gauranga Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyatsa Tattva Jaya Mudire Nastrapaye Sabhadisu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhakti Bhavaiti Naistiki. So Srimad Bhagavata, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 51. The title of this chapter is Prayers by Queen Kunti and Parikshit Saved. Text 51. Srinam Madata Bandunam Drohoyo Savihotita Kama Bigriha Mediye Naham Kalpo Vyapohitum Srinam Madata Bandunam Drohoyo Savihotitaha Kama Bigriha Mediye Natam Kalpo Vyapohitum. Can someone try? Vi- Vaishnavis. It's okay. Thank you, Maharaj. So word for word translation and purport by His Divine Grace, His confounded Acharya, Srila Abhachan of the Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj, okay. Srila Prabhupada, okay. Srinam of the women, mat by me, hat abandonam of the friends who are killed, droha enmity, yaha that I saw all those, iha herewith, uttitaha has accrued, karma be by dint of work, grihamediya by persons engaged in material welfare. Nah, never. Aham, I, kalpaha, can't expect. Vyapohitum, undoing the same. So, a translation, I have killed many friends of women, and have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. Please kindly responsibly repeat. I have killed many friends of women, and have thus caused enmity to such an extent that it is not possible to undo it by material welfare work. So let's listen to the purport with rapt attention, because this is the very essence of this very purport. The great is that those are those whose only business is to perform welfare work for the sake of material prosperity. Such material prosperity is sometimes hampered by sinful activities. For the materialist is sure to commit sins, even unintentionally, in the course of discharging material duties. To get relief from such sinful activity, such sinful reactions, the Vedas prescribe several kinds of sacrifices. It is said in the Vedas that by performing the Ashwamedha Yajna, those horse sacrifice, Ashwamedha Yajna, horse sacrifice is said in the Vedas, horse sacrifice, one can get relief from even Brahmahatya. That means killing of a Brahmana. Yudhishthira Maharaj performed this Ashwamedha Yajna, but he thinks that even by performing such yajnas, it is not possible to get relief from the great sins he committed by killing the friends and relatives of innocent women. In war, either a woman's husband or brother or even father and or sons go to fight. And when they are killed, a fresh enmity is created. And thus a chain of actions and reactions increases, which is not possible to be counteracted even by thousands of Ashwamedha Yajnas. The way of work, dharma, is like that. It creates one action and another reaction simultaneously, and thus increases the chain of material activities, binding the performer in material bondage. In the Bhagavad Gita 9:27 to 28, the remedy is suggested that such actions and reactions of the part of work can be checked only when work is done on behalf of the Supreme Lord. The battle of Kurukshetra was actually fought by the will of the Supreme Lord, Lord Sri Krishna, as it is evident from his version, and only by his will was Yudhishthira placed on the throne of Hastinapur. Therefore, factually, no sin whatsoever touched the Pandavas, who were only the order carriers of the Lord. For others, who declare war out of personal interest, the whole responsibility lies on them. Om Gyana Timarandasya, Gyana Jana Salakaya, Sektorun Melitam, Jena Tasmai, Si Gurave Namaha, Suchaitanya Manobistam, Staphitam, Jena Bhutali, Swayam Rupam Kadamayam, Dadati Swa, Padantika. Vanchakalpatari Byacha, Kripasun Bya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanibhyo, Vaishnavibhyo, Namo Namaha. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Siva Sari, Sigora Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pistaya Bhutale, Semati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Itinamani. Namaste, Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine, Nirvisesa Sonya Badi, Pachatya Disapari. So, this very text is touching on administrative principles and the consequences of actions of people in general and specifically for administrators or leaders. In most cases, people think in this world that, when you have a leadership position, it's just a prestigious thing. And people fight tooth and nail. Political campaigns are mounted. So much of political engineering has to be put in place for someone to become elected onto a position. And so, but in general, people don't seem to understand the involvements, the implications of actually being an administrator or a leader. So, here Yudhishthira, by his own very example, he's showing us how if one executes even his duty, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get some reactions. Except that duty is executed on behalf of the Lord. So the whole question of even needs karma, for instance, is that, I want to do my work and give the results to Krishna. Good. That's called karma yoga. Why that is good? Because it purifies the individual. And ultimately, like Lord Krishna mentions in the Gita, 9:27 to 28, he mentions that the whole idea of work and people having to do work and giving the results to Krishna is a good deal. Why? Because it purifies the soul. It purifies that person, and ultimately it awards that person liberation. And therefore, the complexity of work in the material world, as viewed by Lord Krishna, has a particular remedy. And that remedy is that we do our work, like Lord Krishna mentioned, Yakarosi Yadasdunsi, Yat Jihosi Dadasiyat, that Tapashasa, Konteya, that Kuruswa, Madapana. Madapana unto me, as an offering to me, to Lord Krishna. If we, in general, do what we need to do, we have to eat. We have a tendency to make some offering to someone or to some institution, some organization, to a community. We have a general tendency to do some good work. People go to the Amazon, the rich in America, they go to the Amazon to help out different projects. Because we have this, it is inherent, it is intrinsic in us that we want to do something good for people, for the welfare of people. No one is absolutely bad. We may say, oh, this person is so bad. But no one is absolutely bad. Even the so-called demons, they are not absolutely bad. They have a tendency to do some good work. They may not do that good work to people in general. They may do that good. They may have good intention for their family. Unfortunately, sometimes people could be very good outside, but they are very hostile and very abusive to family members. So, the two things are there. Therefore, Yudhishthira's point here is that by executing his duty, he had committed some sinful activities. But then, the point is that he just being humble, because actually it's Krishna who wanted him to do this. And therefore, Krishna takes responsibility for the reactions. And so when Krishna orders us to do something, we should not really care about the results. This is the point. Because when we care about the results, it becomes niskarma, or it becomes karma yoga. And devotional service is superior to karma yoga in the sense that the results and the work itself, they are the same. They are viewed in the same way. Because it's all for Krishna. It's not that some part is for me and then some part is for Krishna. And so here, Lord Krishna had ordered the Pandavas to go, he had encouraged them to go into warfare, to be able to, get back retrieve their assets or their properties, their fixed assets, the moving assets. But they were hesitant in the beginning, especially you find in the Gita, Arjuna was making very cogent argument, philosophical argument, not a back on that warfare. But Krishna eventually convinced him, or Krishna persuaded him to do the job. Now, there's a difference between persuasion and trying to force someone to do something. If you have a child, you are not able to persuade that child to do something and you want to force your ideas on the child, you are going in the wrong direction. Because Krishna used persuasion to convince the Pandavas, specifically Arjuna, to embark on a fight. And that persuasion was imbued with logical arguments or scriptural arguments, scientific values. And the whole modus operandi, modus vivendi involved in the argument was not basically about Krishna forcing himself on Arjuna. Why? Because they were friends at that time. He was trying to convince Arjuna. You don't force your ideas on a friend, isn't it? So, the bottom line is that when we engage in some activity, we should understand for who is the beneficiary of this. Whom am I doing this for? Am I doing this to satisfy myself or to satisfy Lord Krishna? And that is why the concept of, even in devotional service, the concept of Karma Mishra Bhakti, Yoga Nishra Bhakti is there. And so, like the mindset of Yudhishthira, we should always have this understanding and think that I may be committing offenses in the process of executing my service, but Krishna has asked me to do this, and therefore he takes responsibility. But if we also abuse that ideology and say, well, I smash on your feet, and you say, well, I'm the temple commander. Krishna has empowered me to do this. He's responsible for this. I mean, he's going to be responsible for this. No. That's an abuse of office. It's so easy to misinterpret the Vedic literature. It's so easy. And we can always find a loophole to rationalize when we go wrong. Rationalization is one of those intrinsic values in the humans because we are by nature. I mean, when I was a young teenager, I had not encountered devotional service. I observed society, I observed family members, and observed what was going on. And as a young teenager, I came up with some idea that, people in general, they are just like, self-willed lawyers and developing politicians. People try to protect themselves here and there. They do something wrong. Parents do something wrong. They never say sorry. The only thing they're right, you were wrong. But it shouldn't be the case. And therefore, if even we are given an opportunity to serve, we should think like Yudhishthira. I have a hellish mentality. I'm going to hell, man. That mindset will give us a caution. We imbue in us or will invoke a sense of caution in how we interact with people, how we are trying to execute a service, how we're trying to help out to create a positive spiritual change in our communities. And so, bottom line is that, yes, there are sinful reactions that come with activities because we are living in a material world. A material world, Bhagavatam explains, pada padahi vipadam. Any step you take, you could run into heavy difficulties or challenges. But Krishna has given us some recommendation, or there's a remediation procedure for this, that we do everything that we have to do. We eat. Don't just go outside and pop into some a pizza a pizza mile, and you start eating because then Krishna mentioned you're eating only sin. So this basically we have to understand that even the eating can bring us sinful reactions. Actions, eating, even the offering. I remember when I was preaching in Africa, one time we were going for Harinam, and then at a junction there was a beggar. He was without limbs. His legs were amputated. And he was lying on his stomach. He was lying at a junction. So people sympathized. They give him money and all this thing. But, what struck me was that beggar was drinking a bottle of beer. He was drinking beer. So I thought, wow, this is people's money. And the people who sympathize with him to give this money, they also will imbibe some of the reactions. See, this is the complexity of offering. This is the complexity. This is the lived experience. And so, like in the mode of Yudhishthira, we have to be careful how we go about doing anything in this world. Especially, in our professional deliberations, we have to understand that nothing is so easy. And so when we have at the back of our mind that Krishna is there to be able to help us out, we should think about what Krishna has recommended in the Gita, specifically in 9:27, about how we should go about doing our work, how we should go about eating, how we should go about our offerings, and then the fear of sinful reactions will basically become null and void. Any comments or questions? Okay, there are no comments or questions. Then we beg to adjourn this meeting. Yes, Maharaj. Right.
First, let me thank you for a very enthusiastic, very full of eagerness and full of desire to inspire everyone here. It was obvious from the first word that you spoke, and I hope that we hear more of this, and I hope more people in the world hear it also. It'll be a blessing overall. That was not the main comment. Oh, is that all right? Yeah. So that was not the main comment. The comment I was about to make was on the last point that you made about the person who has amputated legs, and you give him money, and he gets enough, and then he gets was that a beer?
Alcohol.
Bottle of beer, alcohol. So basically you're contributing towards his sinful reaction, and you can enjoy getting it along with him. So I had the same idea some time ago. I was in the post office just over on Motor Avenue. And as I came out of the post office, sort of elderly, mid-age woman approached me, and she said, "I'm so hungry. Can you help me out?" So I said, "Are you really hungry?" So she says, "Oh, yeah, I'm hungry." I said, "Well, come with me." So she said, "Where are you going?" I said, "You'll see." So we went across Venice Boulevard, and there was a cafeteria there. So I said, "Come on inside." So we went inside, and there was stools there, and I said, "You sit there, and I'll sit here." I said, "Okay, are you really hungry?" So I thought she was going to say, "Well, I'd like a beer," but she didn't say that. She said, "Yeah, I'm hungry." "Okay, you can order anything you want, which is up on the menu, except any meat, fish, or eggs. Anything that has that in it, you can't have it, and I won't pay for it. But anything else is okay." So she looked in this. I said, "Can you read?" She says, "Yeah, I can read." So she ordered I think it was a lettuce, tomato, and Swiss cheese sandwich, something like that. And they brought it over, and I told the waiter there, give me the check, and this is all I'm paying for, by the way, I told him. So he said, okay. So I went and I paid for it, and I left. And I felt karma-free because there was no, what she got was something I would eat, and it was food, and it was charitable. And I also put a little blessing on the lettuce and tomatoes, sure. So it was karma-free.
You are smart. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, if there's no one else who has some contribution, something to share, we will have to end the class here so that you go about with the rest of your duties. Oh, most of the devotees haven't met me before. This is my third time of coming to LA. All right, so I can give you some brief about the type of things I do. I joined in Africa under the auspices of Bhakti Swami, the late Bhakti Swami Maharaj. I took initiation, first and second initiation from him. And then I took science initiation from Jayapataka Swami in Mayapur in 2009 in February 26. So, my main works are basically in the academics. My main concern has been that of integrating applied Vedic science and applied management and decision sciences in providing solutions to leadership, management, and social issues. So if you go to my website, bhaktivasudevswami.com, you go to publications, you see my works. My current research and publications have been on kleptocracy. Kleptocracy means corporate corruption. It's a topical issue in the global society right now. So in Africa, I was also leading in projects like temple presidency, regional directorship, and then in 2004, I was invited by the Georgia Political Science Association to come to present papers at the annual conference. And then that was in November. And then I went back to Africa. And I was again invited by the New York Political Science Association, the American Social Science Association, Pennsylvania Political Science Association, and University of Southern Mississippi for presentations at their annual meetings. So when I came in 2005, in February, after those meetings, I had 6 presentations in 6 weeks. So after those presentations, the devotees in the East Coast, they requested that I stay behind to help with academic preaching specifically here. So that's how I ended up staying in America, and then shortly after that I became a citizen. When I was a brahmachari, I was living in New Jersey for a number of years. And then I remember the only place I went to was, I normally would travel when I was a brahmachari, but I didn't really travel to temples. Like even New Vrindavan was there, I never went to New Vrindavan. I only traveled to places where I have academic preaching engagements. For instance, I remember one time I came to Seattle for a conference, Southwest Annual Social Science Conference. And that was before they built this Vedic temple. Yeah, so these are the type of works they do. As I travel around, one of my main objectives is also encourage young people to have strategic plans about their future, to be able to integrate their secular duties with Krishna consciousness. That's a very difficult thing, but if you're really planning to become serious in terms of preaching or in terms of maintaining a good family, you have to think about how to strategize based on what type of developments, professional developments you are going to be able to integrate in your life, vice versa your Krishna consciousness. I mean, it's like, hard not to crack. But this Upanishad mentions riding on a train with 2 rails, nations and science. In other words, Krishna consciousness and your professional development. That's a hard nut to crack. Yeah, so briefly, these are some of the things I do. Yeah, I live in Queens in New York, and from there I travel around. All right, so thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki.